called him and told him he had a problem with the send one, but it ain't doing nothing for me. I don't know if it was a
What's up, bro? When you on the church today?
it don't work for me. But I told him I couldn't because of my insurance. I have a drive-by into my car. So it was, and I told myself, you give me this free, but I
You hear? Also, my grandson. Hey, how you doing? He's good to see you. He has a job over there. He's going to school. He has a job over at Shreveport.
Okay.
So he passed out.
For free?
So he just started.
Okay, that's wonderful.
but like, I don't see many people.
Yeah.
Take care.
Because I
All
don't
right.
know the one that I have here. Hulu free with either one of your phones?
Hulu?
But even with the basic, you get Hulu. We on at the same time. And I think here, you can watch it in Comcast.
Yeah.
Versus doing it on my camera.
You ready?
Hey, what did I make the paper? I saw that
Somebody sent me a cover of it, but I hadn't read it. Just say all good things. I hope so.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's never more around here. That's right.
Had a good weekend.
Yeah, you.
Short.
That's right.
You. Jake. No. That was a pretty cool service.
Thank you, sweetie.
You're welcome.
This is where I say.
It don't matter.
Hey, Tom.
Hey Tom, how you doing? You doing all right?
Hi.
John, they was having a meeting. John, they was having a big meeting back there with us. Yeah, I broke it up. What's up, man? Yes, sir. How you doing?
Oh, very good.
9 o'clock close time for liquor. And adding private residences to the list of places they can.
I'm glad to see
Okay,
you.
cool.
Well, you took your
I'm out.
I don't know. He came to church yesterday. Huh?
I like that. That's good.
He came over to came to shower.
Ma'am. Just peachy.
He was right down the street from I came over to
You're something.
Reverend Empress
Tea all over.
That sounds like something I'd do.
Mm-hmm.
That is my family's church.
Really? I
My
preached
mama's
the church
side.
anniversary yesterday.
Did
What's your family name?
Lee's, they used to call my grandfather Sarge Lee. He started the ROTC department at Huntington, and then my Leslie Lee,
Yeah.
she's a seamstress.
How are you?
My aunt still goes there though. One of my aunts.
Coach Al Dennis, who is one of my coaches, his wife is a member there, Miss Dennis.
Okay.
And I met her yesterday. She said, "Do you remember Al Dennis that was at her house?" Yes, ma'am. She said, "That was my mentor." I said, "Man, I stayed at your house. I used to come home and spend the night with Coach Dennis."
That's funny. Yeah, my aunt, she still goes there. One of my aunts at least.
Coach Al Dennis. That was before your time. He used to coach at Herndon, but he coached up there in Springfield years ago.
I'm one up on you.
I had a lot of
We
relatives.
can share that. So look at the two of us together. How about that?
Yeah.
It's carrot, mostly carrot juice. Carrot,
You got to lose me on
carrot, apple, ginger, turmeric. This is that place next to my Judy's.
more ginger. It's ginger ale.
It's good for you, you I'm guessing. That's my guess.
That's the proof.
Yes. Good afternoon.
I'm not particularly exercising one with the other.
Yeah, the weekend.
Yes.
Oh, come on here now. Who told you that?
You can do
That's hilarious. I didn't know you knew that. Because we don't sit up here talking about my cousin. Ew.
Done. Oh, okay. It ain't on? No. No. Oh, it's on now.
Man, I see what I'm saying.
Will is not on.
Oh, I know. I saw that
Okay.
on Thursday. I need to get out of here early.
Anybody heard from the
We
chairman?
have like executive session for like 5 billion things.
Several. You're
It's
right.
it's the wife's birthday.
It is her birthday.
Your wife's birthday?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Where y'all going?
Hey. Went Silver Star for lunch with the kids.
Okay.
And my daughter has class tonight, so she can't get 2 of us.
Okay.
2 jobs.
That's all right. What is Two John?
Okay.
I've heard about it.
It's good.
Okay.
It's kind of like
James, it's in Bossier.
Huh?
It's in Bossier. You have to have a license
Oh, I
to
ain't
go.
going to Bose. Hey, when I go to Bose, I drive as fast as my car can go.
to get back.
I go over there as fast as I can, and I get on there and hit it. Yeah, I'm back, man. That's right in Bossier.
Fred just strolling in.
Hey.
Everybody ready? You ready?
No prayer.
Can we do a start on time ordinance?
What's that?
Can we do a
It's in the
start on
charter.
time?
We're supposed to start on time.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Better roll. Let's go.
Y'all ready? I'm ready. You ready?
Yeah.
The meeting of the Shreveport City Council is now called to order. Councilman Green will give the invocation, and Councilman Fleury will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, God, for this day and opportunity. We thank you for all that have come today. We ask you to give us the spirit of Christ that we will carry out this meeting in a Christ-like manner and let us do good for the citizens and for this nation. Thank you, God, for every good and perfect gift. Thank you for what you've done, for what you're going to do. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Face the flag, repeat with me. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, will you call the roll?
Councilman Bradford. Councilwoman Fuller.
Present.
Councilman Nicholson.
Present.
Councilman Butcher.
Here.
Councilman Fleury.
Here.
Councilman Green.
Here.
And Councilman Coleman.
Tomorrow, the chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the Administrative Conference of October 7, 2019, and the City Council meeting of October 8.
Any council member have any awards, recognition, distinguished guests at this time?
Mr. Chair, I don't have any today, but tomorrow, the Reverend Dr. William Barber II will be my guest tomorrow.
Okay. Administration have any guest recognition at this time?
Not today.
All right. Mr. Green, will you come forward, Mr. Green? Anyone have anything relative to property standards of Mr. Green?
Chairman, may I be recognized at this time, please, sir? Mr. Green, I'll be sending you an email this afternoon after the meeting. Sometime probably between 4, maybe 6:30, I'll send you an email.
Okay.
It could be something like 6:45, somewhere right in there. But I'll be sending you an email from a lady that tells me that we have problems in Hyde Park.
Okay.
Hyde Park is in the Kingston Road, the Mansfield area there.
Right.
If you're not familiar with it, but it's, she alleges that we have a lot of violations out there. I haven't had an opportunity to travel out there this week, but I will be traveling between now and Friday to inspect it myself. But you will be getting correspondence from District E councilman, and I hope that you will respond appropriately.
It'll be good to hear from you.
Thank you.
I think that's it. Mr. Green, I appreciate it.
You don't get to miss me like that, do you, Mr. Green?
No, I don't.
All right, we'll hear from Mr. Clark and Ms. Green, and Ms. Jones tomorrow. No public hearing. Ms. Jones, will there be any legislation added tomorrow?
We're not aware of any.
Okay. And we have the following request to speak.
Mr. Tracy Toops.
Good afternoon. I'm Tracy Toops of 424 Braymore Road, Shreveport, Louisiana. Came to just make some comments in regards to the, I guess, proposed amendment to the 1084 time changes for stores that their primary sales are of alcohol. I'm second generation owner of Thrifty Discount Liquor Wine Company. And my comments in regards to that would initially be that it would drive people that are getting off of work late at night into bars and restaurants, and in turn would increase the likelihood of people that are drinking and driving to close stores earlier. It would only be fair to force nightclubs and bars to shut down at 9 p.m. also, in our opinion, of making a current store close at 9 who's been in business for as long as we have, that have been operating at the hours that we currently operate for since 1962. Also would like to mention that we run security guards in our stores most evenings at all of our Shreveport locations that we do staff. Another comment I want to make in regards to closing the stores early is that if people decided that they didn't want to go to a bar and they wanted to get something from a liquor store, they would simply drive to Bossier, and it would just be lost sales tax dollars for the city of Shreveport. We service a lot of customers that get off of work late, whether they work at a casino or wherever it is that they work, that come to our stores and that we service after 9 p.m. Not to mention that it could potentially drive business to non-locally owned businesses, ones that don't make donations and contributions to the Shreveport community. Our business is financially structured around our current hours of operation in regards to sales projections, employee incentives, commissions, bonuses, and any of our debt services. We would be forced to lay off some employees and pull away from some of our employee incentives as well. So those are my comments in regards to this proposed amendment. Any questions?
All right, Councilman Nicholson.
Mr. Toops, thank you. I don't have any questions for you, but I do want to address my colleagues on the council briefly because this is a matter that has been added to the agenda for introduction at my request. You know, during our last meeting when we approved a liquor store at Gilbert and Kings in my district with a restriction that it be closed at 9 p.m. every night, we did that because we were concerned as a body about the adverse impact that a liquor store in a residential neighborhood would have. And Councilman Bradford spoke very passionately about the fact that for decades this council has been approving the placement of liquor stores in poor African American neighborhoods, and nobody has complained about that. I think we should have reasonable hours of operation for all packaged liquor stores citywide. I think that the present rule, which allows liquor stores to remain open until 4 a.m. every day of the week, is unreasonable. And I think 9 p.m. is a reasonable time to close liquor stores. I recognize that there may be some marginal economic impact on the businesses that sell liquor in this city, but I think those consequences will be minimal and will be outweighed by the fact that we will no longer have liquor stores operating late at night citywide, many of which are located near people's homes. And so that is the reason I have proposed this legislation, and I will continue to urge my colleagues to join me in adopting it in 2 weeks. Thank you.
All right, Councilman Butcher.
Mr. Toops, what are y'all's hours right now? I don't have a clue, to be honest with you.
Most of the Shreveport locations, they close at 10:30 Monday through Thursday, and midnight Fridays and Saturdays, and 10:30 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Sundays.
Okay, so we'll be talking about, on weekdays, you lose about an hour and a half, right?
That's correct, hour and a half, and then, you know, Fridays and Saturdays, that would be 3 to 4 hours later, which to us would be a pretty significant change, not only because of alcohol sales, but just all of our customer service in general.
This is, like Councilman Nicholson said, this is the first time that we've really even, I didn't even speak to him over the weekend about it when I saw it, so this is the first time that I've seen this. I would say that for everybody involved, that this is it's a 2-reader, so it won't be brought up for vote until November what's the date? November 12th, I believe. So we have time to talk about this a little bit and kind of hash it out. But I agree with what Councilman Nicholson said about, we need to kind of make it equal all the way around. But I'm not quite sure where I stand on this yet, so I appreciate it.
Well, if I might be able to offer any input, and I don't know if this is something I can or can't do, being as though my time has run out, but I have not been following the liquor store opening on Kings Highway very much. I'm not in the business of opposing my competition. That is not what I'm here or want to do. But I do feel like that based on our historic stores that have opened in Shreveport, that we would have never even attempted to open that location, nor would we have wanted to. But if we did, I almost feel certain that we certainly would not have been approved to open that location. And that's my opinion. We once dealt with a petition against a store, and because of that petition, we did not get that store. Again, I'm here to talk about the change in the hours. I didn't mean to go off onto that, but just offer my opinion.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, may I be recognized?
Well, you got two people on before you, so.
All right, let me get up on the.
Councilman Green?
Mr. Chair, I don't have any questions for him, so I'll yield to Councilman Fleury, and you can come back.
Councilman Bradford's ahead of me.
He is.
I don't have any questions. I just have a statement.
Okay.
Good afternoon, sir. I just walked in, so I just became familiar with the legislation as well. Whereas I appreciate Councilman Nicholson. I'm not sure where I stand on this, but I want to ask you, what percentage of your business that's done between 9 o'clock and closing time?
I don't have those accurate figures. I found out about this today as well. So I've been running my business all day and sort of ran here to.
What is your business? Who are you with?
I'm with Thrifty Discount Liquor and Wine
Thrifty.
Company. Yes, sir.
Okay. And all the thrifters are under one ownership, or your franchise?
Well, we have one ownership group. Yes, sir.
I mean, there's several thrifties, is there?
Several Thrifties in Shreveport.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And this legislation would affect all of those. So somewhere in the interim of the next 2 weeks, can you sort of provide what your business percentage is between 9 and closing on weekends and
I would be happy to.
weekdays? Again, I appreciate the legislation because I think we want to be fair, but at the same time, I don't think this is a one-size-fit-all situation. Certainly within neighborhoods where it's proximity with houses, to the extent that in my district, for instance, liquor stores is right in the neighborhood. This one, and I think yours, is on main thoroughfares, and I think there's a distinct difference in that. But at the same time, I don't want to hinder. I wouldn't want to vote to hinder sales if it's not warranted to maintain equity. But I'm still saying, but I still don't think all liquor outlets should be held under one standard. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, Councilman Fleury.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Toops, I understand you here concerning the hours, but you made a statement there that just really caught me ear. You was talking about you wouldn't have chosen that spot, but yet you have one right around there on Uri Drive that's had numerous armed robberies.
Not numerous, sir. We actually.
Well, I'll get the chief of police up here and remind you that we have had, not this year, but the year before and the year before, I know of one that ran out and ran through the neighborhood over there. you've had numerous armed robberies, and I still hold to that statement.
Okay. The last break-in that we had at that location, there were 4 gentlemen, I say gentlemen, there were 4 individuals out of Texas. Because of our security cameras and our alarm system in the stores, these people had been robbing the Uri Drive corridor for, I don't know, if this was several years ago, maybe a month. Were not caught until they broke into our location. And the Shreveport police were able to abduct all 4 of them. I like the sales figures. I do not have the exact time. That store may have been robbed. You say armed robbery.
With a gun.
Yes, sir, I understand. But as far as I believe, and knock on wood, it never happens again, but the break-in where the 4 individuals were arrested, I do not recall any armed robbery since then, which was several years ago. And prior to that, I can't give an exact time. I don't want to sit here and try to give exacts without knowing what my facts are, but it has been an extremely long time. We have no intention to be on a non-busy thoroughfare. We would rather be on a busy thoroughfare to avoid those types of things. Where some of our locations are now, the city itself has changed around where those locations are. And that's not the case at most of them. But we are in business just like a McDonald's or a Burger King or anybody else would be.
Well, I think this is something that Councilman Nicholson has brought forth. Is not such a far-fetched idea, because most armed robberies in the city of Shreveport occur at that time frame and on into later after the 9 p.m. and then also we send out our DWI task force primarily and at that time of night, because that seems to be when folks take a little nip and drive. And so it's not too far-fetched to at least have the dialogue about the 9 p.m. closing. Cuban, I believe I heard last time, Cuban liquor closes somewhere 8. Lake Shore's now required under their, if they go through and proceed, at 9. And there you are out there all night long, huh?
No, sir, we close at midnight.
Midnight?
On
Okay.
Fridays and Saturdays, and 10:30 Monday through Thursday.
Yeah.
And look, I agree with the dialogue, and that's why I'm here, is to open up my opinion about the dialogue.
I find it so hard to believe that you're gonna have to lay off folks when you got signs in your business that say help wanted. So I don't know, maybe you got a business model there that I just don't quite understand. But anyway, we need to have the dialogue, and it's not gonna hurt.
I understand that.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Green.
Yes, sir. Sir, this has nothing to do with rice and Russia. All I know is that Chick-fil-A is a national company, franchise, and they close on Sunday, and it seems as though they've been blessed. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right. I believe that's it. Thank you, Mr. Two.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Ron Heresy? Excuse me, Hardy.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ron Hardy. I live at 720 Hope Street. I'm here today to address well, first let me say, I'm the property manager at 1243 Wood Street, which is a vacant area. I'm here to address the unconstitutional demolition of private property by city workers on October 14th. There was a citation issued, I believe around the 27th of July and this is a homeless camp. This is a camp where, and I don't probably have enough time to go into the dynamics of why we set the homeless camp up. but it was for citizens of this city. And we can go into that dialogue later, why was it needed. But anyway, we was issued a citation July 27th to comply with some orders. We rented a porta potty for the people. We got a account from the city of Shreveport for water for the people. Okay, it was now Luther Cox is the owner of the property. I'm the property manager. So he received a call or something that stated he should not have to come to the August meeting of the citation. So he didn't go. On October 14th, the property was demolished. We had private property. Matter of fact, some homeless guys had bought tents. We have a landlord there that was just demolished. And I'm trying to understand, and maybe y'all can deal with that. How did this happen? I understand, we understand eminent domain, okay? Understand that very clearly. But we need to see where the city, who authorized anyone to come in there and destroy that private property. That's it.
Mr. Jones, will you assist this gentleman?
Sure. If you all need some more information, Mr. Green, can you kind of give us some background on this, just so that you all can be aware of the facts that concerning this?
This is the Oakland Street property. There was a set of apartments across the street from this camp or what have you. There were arrests made at the camp. Chief can fill you in on that. When we went out to the location, property was empty. There wasn't anybody there. No one was living there. We cleaned the property up. Mr. Cox owns a piece at the very back. The rest of it was adjudicated. We cleaned it all up because why would I leave a piece of some crates and whatnot out there? So there were, like I say, we had illegal activities that were going on there at the property. And once it was cleared and no one was there, we cleaned the property up. And I made the call.
Okay. All right, Councilman Bradford, you said there was illegal activities?
Yes.
I mean, where did that report come from? I mean, you got, okay, come on. Chief, come on down.
Councilman, we received a complaint. I can look from emails and tell you who it was from. I don't remember offhand that there was possible drug dealing going on at this location. And so made our narcotics division aware of it. And they arrested 2 individuals, seized marijuana, methamphetamine, and crack cocaine from that location. Approximately 20 grams of marijuana packaged for sale, 1.7 grams of methamphetamine packaged for sale, and then crack cocaine also packaged for sale. So obviously distribution and using was going on at that location. So that was the police department's role.
Okay. And from that report, you had authority to go in and dismantle that area, that these young
That was
men,
on adjudicated property.
I'm sorry?
That was on adjudicated property.
Okay.
And when I got there, I talked to Mr. Cox. I didn't know anything about
Mr. Hardy.
Mr. Hardy being a
Manager, yes, I
yeah,
said the cap up.
a manager. But Mr. Cox did talk to MPC, he said, and was denied being able to put water, porta potties, or what, basically set it up as a legitimate camp. So it was illegitimate from the get-go. You know, everything that they were trying to do, it wasn't legal to do.
Well, I attended an event at Mr. Hardy's business today. This week is National Negro in the Art Week recognition. And,
yes,
and he put on a very wonderful event this morning at his place, and he started telling me about what they was trying to do. He and Mr. Cox was both there, and they was telling me that they were sympathetic to the homeless and to those that did not have stationary housing, and they provided this place of residence for those. And he made me believe, and I believe him, that they went through all the proper procedures to get that place acceptable. Now, again, and I understand the other activities that could have happened there that they wasn't aware of, but the intent of them trying to provide decent and some type of stationary home comfort for those that don't have those, I thought it was a good thing. And I'm sorry?
Mr. Cox must be playing both sides against the middle.
What do you mean both sides, Mr. Jerry? What do you mean both sides? It's not a
stood-
game. What are you talking about?
I stood right in front when we were going to demolish and remove the stuff. Mr. Cox said, well, if they're not here, then I understand. Do what you got to do.
You aware of that, Mr. Hardy?
Sir, when Mr. Cox got there, the place was demolished. When I got there about 8 o'clock Monday morning, just out in clear blue sky. I went around there because I had heard about the illegal activities and some police there. So I wanted to see what was really going on. So I went around there that morning. I can show you pictures. Just before the place was demolished. I mean, he said that, yeah, there was an area that is adjudicated. The guys, we complied. They moved the camp back to Mr. Cox's property. This was an artistic piece. Matter of fact, let me just say this to your kid city council. We was trying to set up a Airbnb homeless camp where people could come and maybe have the homeless experience if they didn't want to go to the fairgrounds, where that was the thing that you guys are doing now, the fairgrounds with the homeless, some kind of boxes. No, we were setting up a artistic piece. It was an artistic camp. The guy that put the camp together, like I said, I really don't have enough time to talk about this. We can put it on paper and I can show you this young man needed that kind of exposure and help from himself. But no, Mr. Cox was not there.
Okay.
They demolished the place before I got there.
Okay, the grounds are clear now. Let me do this, if it's okay. Let me speak with Mr. Green and the chief. Then I want to come back and speak with you and Mr. Cox.
Yes, sir.
And see if there are any sites or any opportunities to provide the type of sensitivity that you were trying to provide for these people.
Could I interject one
Sure,
thing?
sure.
They destroyed private property. These tents were built or put up on crates. It wasn't just on the ground. The guys got crates, put the tent so they could sleep in them and not be rained. We had a lawnmowers, we had things over there. One of the guys that started the camp, he finally got his check from it, okay, where he could have some money. He bought tents. They destroyed them.
So again, Ms. Hart, I feel you. I feel you, and I'm saying let me speak with the chief and with Mr. Green. If there was property damage or property that was destroyed, and if there's liability to be liened, then we need to look at that too. But I want to see, first of all, how this happened, and then I want to see if there's opportunity. And we'll talk to the proper departments to see if we can find somewhere that we can do this, because I thought it was a good thing.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Councilman Fleury.
I've withdrawn.
Councilman Green.
I would say this, that.
Councilman Green, excuse me, one moment, Mr. Hardy. Councilman Green.
Mr. Hardy,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to say that once this is taken care of as to how Mr. Bradford is saying that he wants the chief and everybody to get involved to set it up correctly, I'll commit to buying a tent for whoever.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it.
And let me say again, thank you for this morning. I thought it was a great program, and you recognizing the variety of African Negro art through the centuries was very impressive.
The camp is on that big picture with the projects, Church of Chicken, LSU, the homeless camp is there. That is ours.
Now, these exhibits gonna be up for how long at your place?
They're up on the club. Those pictures you saw, those are the original.
No, I was gonna invite the public to go by and look at that. What's that address over there? What's the address?
717 Hope Street. We're You can see them adjacent from Pete Harris Cafe.
Yeah.
On the wall, on the building wall.
Okay.
Right by Pete Harris Cafe.
Yeah, I'm gonna just ask that anybody want to see.
Yes, sir, I have sent invitations to everyone on that council.
Yeah, the diversity and the really the involvement of black art is there, so go by and look at it. But I'll set up a time we can talk, okay? Thank you.
Councilman Bradford, you know, we got laws too, and they wasn't on, that was on adjudicated property is the big
No, I
picture.
understand.
Okay, all right.
I'm just saying, when it was brought to my attention, it sounded very good that people was utilizing that campsite, okay?
Yeah.
But we won't violate no laws or no.
No, I'm
ordinances.
just saying, I understand where Mr. Hart is coming from, and we do have a homeless problem. I get that, we get that, and I wish it was more that we could do.
Okay.
But at the same time, I just want to make sure that they understand that, you know, you got laws, I just can't go set up a camp on Willie Bradford's property, you know, so, you know, who's next?
Mr. Bebb Francis.
Good afternoon, Council. Bev Francis, 112 East Pecan, San Antonio. Pleasure to see you again. I represent the SPA, and on tomorrow's, it's my understanding in respecting your request that there be minimum discussion further on this appeal. I reserve any questions and comments for tomorrow. I spoke briefly with Mr. Arsenault on the way in. I believe we have an agreement that will address our comments and questions on the 3-minute time limit tomorrow. Tom, is that the agreement?
I don't plan to speak at all in preference what the council said, unless you do.
Okay. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow then. Thank you again.
Yes, sir.
Thank you both. All right, very good. Mr. Chairman, those are all the requests to speak.
All right. Mr. Chairman, if I may, before we move forward with the legislation, Chief Raymond, can I speak with you again one time over, please? I just need some understanding of what happened several weeks ago. No, this is something totally different. Several weeks ago, there was an accident on I-220, westbound between Jefferson Page and Lakeshore Drive.
Okay.
18-wheeler, I think, hit a pickup truck.
Okay.
You remember that situation?
I believe I do.
Okay. Anyway, I guess that's,
Fatality?
I'm sorry?
Was it a fatality?
No fatality.
Okay.
There was no fatality. But my point was that all traffic, all westbound traffic was deterred off of I-220 at Lakeshore Drive.
Okay.
The sheriff, I guess, it's a parish area, so the sheriff deputies set up the exit apparatus, blocking off and directing and leading people onto Lakeshore Drive.
Okay.
And once they got on Lakeshore Drive, I mean, 18-wheelers and everything else, they was lost. They didn't know what to do. They went down Curtis Lane, they went down Jefferson Page, they went everywhere. And I was wondering, in a situation like that, what would be the responsibility of the Shreveport Police Department in helping direct traffic through the city? If all westbound traffic is deterred off of our interstate system, do we just let them vet for themselves? How does that work?
It would depend on the circumstances. Now, if we received calls that, you know, there were traffic complaints or that.
7 hours. It was closed for 7 hours.
I have to check in the specific circumstances. I can speak in generalizations that if we're working a major accident on interstate, generally, we just try to keep the traffic off that particular accident scene. We don't have the personnel to set up a detour, so to speak. And that's not an excuse. Maybe we should have. But I'd really have to check in the specifics as to why, especially if CATA was working the accident scene, as to why we didn't assist with.
I mean, once they got on
issues
city
off
streets,
of-
you understand?
off of interstate.
You understand what I'm asking?
No, I do. I understand.
Because it was chaotic.
Yes, sir.
You know, and it went through residential areas, and there was no sight of any police to help direct traffic back to the interstate,
Back
either
to a
220
location
or
where
back
people knew where they
to
were.
I-220.
Right. No, I understand. I can find out, you know.
And give me a
specific
policy
to
on that.
instance.
You know, give me what is.
We don't have a policy.
You don't have a
I can
policy
tell you, no,
on
sir.
accidents if they exit the interstate?
No, sir. But because again, generally, especially if the police are working it, most of our units are going to be tied up on that accident. And so our duty in that, or role in that particular instance is let's keep traffic away from the accident scene so we can clean it up, work the investigation, call them tow trucks, et cetera. And unfortunately, it would be somewhat up to those traveling that route to find another thoroughway, so to speak. But, you know, brings up an important point, something I never thought about before, so we can start to look at some type of a policy. And I think it would depend on the location and how many units it would take to reroute that traffic. You know, if we could get at one intersection and point people in the right direction, that's one thing. If we had to have officers at 5 or 6 intersections, we're not gonna have the personnel to do that.
No, I mean, it wasn't that, and I got photos, again, my concern was, it was a residential area. There was a light at the corner of Curtis Lane and Lake Shore. And that light is a quick light. If the officer would have been at that light, at that location, keeping traffic flowing, then the traffic would not been backed up 2 miles back to the interstate.
Yes, sir.
And I'm just saying, those situations would have been helpful. And I'm just saying, situations where all the traffic is detouring off of the interstate, and a red light is holding them up for, 2 minutes when they could be flowing, would be helpful. And then when they got down to maybe Juella, they could have directed them back down Juella back to the interstate. But they was going all which ways because they didn't know. It was
I
coming through the
understand.
city.
Very good point, and I can check and just, what would have probably solved the problem is if somebody made a call, maybe the Caddo deputies said, hey, traffic's backing up, can we get some units to assist? Or perhaps it should have been upon us to go by there and check and assist.
Well,
But I'll find out what happened.
Ms. Jones?
Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, Councilman Bradford, I think we understand the concern that you have, especially for the time frame. It makes sense, for to be some further thought down the road on what's going on as far as traffic is concerned and making sure that there's not any chaos. So we'll talk and we'll get with staff to see, to what we're doing right now to make sure that we address those types of things, because I could see how that could create some issues throughout the city in those circumstances. So we'll definitely talk through that and address it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Chief.
Yes, sir.
All right. Consent items to be adopted, Ms. Jones?
Resolution 127, accepting the public dedication of Ash Street and Sagewood Circle rights-of-way in Sagewood Place Subdivision, Unit 4.
Okay. No discussion on that, and we're to regular agenda legislation.
Resolution 126 is approving the 2020 Downtown Development Authority Program of Work. Resolution 128 is amending Resolution number 72 of 2018 and to approve Calumet Shreveport Refining LLC for participation in the Industrial Tax Exemption Program located at Project Site 3333 Midway Street, Shreveport, Louisiana 71109. Resolution 129, recognizing Project Celebration for its work to prevent and to assist the victims of domestic violence to support Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
All right, Attorney Creel.
Yes, I just wanted the council to be aware, we received an email through the administration with officials from Calumet. There was a name change for the organization, and in order to facilitate what was derived in the existing resolution, we needed to change the name to reflect their current business name. So that is the only change to that resolution that was passed in 2018. No other, no substantive changes have been made.
Ain't changed, okay. All right, Councilman Fleury.
In regards to Resolution 128, how did we not use the formula that we used before on calculating, are they wanting this full 880 something thousand?
It's exactly the same resolution as before. The only difference is a name change.
Let's change the name.
Gotcha.
That's
Thank
it.
you, Mr. Thompson.
All right. There's no other discussion. Ms. Jones, introduction of resolution.
Resolution 130 is authorizing the execution of a cooperative endeavor agreement with Shreveport Bossier Convention and Tourist Bureau. Resolution 131 is authorizing the use of certain equipment by Sport Spectrum Race Management. Resolution 132 stating the City of Shreveport's endorsement of Twin Oaks Investments LLC to participate in the benefits of the Louisiana Restoration Tax Abatement Program. Resolution 133 authorizing the mayor to accept a donation of real estate with improvements located at 2916 Fulton Street in as-is condition with an estimated value of $20,000 from Wells Fargo National Bank to be utilized by community development for homeownership or rental to a low to moderate income home buyer or tenant.
There's no discussion on that. And Ms. Jones, proceed. Introduction of ordinance, please.
Ordinance 160 is amending the City of Shreveport, Louisiana 2019 General Fund Budget. Ordinance 161 is amending Chapter 10, Article 4, Division 2, Section 10-175 of the Code of Ordinances regarding hours of operation for retail dealer of alcohol, non-downtown zoning districts. Ordinance 162 amending Chapter 10, Article 2, Division 4, Section 10-82 of the Code of Ordinances regarding sales of alcohol near homes, schools, churches, etc. Ordinance 163 is authorizing an encroachment into the city's public right-of-way located near 3150 Artist Taylor Drive, as more fully described herein, to authorize the mayor or his designee to execute an encroachment permit with Southern Hills Neighborhood Association. Ordinance 164 authorizing the mayor to execute 3 cooperative endeavor lease agreements with city-owned property located in Ledbetter Heights, Shreveport, Louisiana 71101, and Caddo Parish to one or more entities managed or controlled by the Housing Authority of the City of Shreveport or its subsidiaries for the development of the Bayou Grand housing initiatives for purposes which benefit the public. Ordinance 165 is zoning case number 19-387-C, an ordinance to amend the official zoning map of the City of Shreveport Unified Development Code by rezoning property located approximately 1,600 feet west of Pines Road and 300 feet south of Jefferson Page Road, Shreveport, Caddo Parish, Louisiana, from RE Residential Estate District to R2 multifamily Residential District.
Mr. Chairman, on ordinance 165, it was denied by the MPC. Before we had the UDC, if an ordinance or for a was denied by the MPC, it would only come to the council if it was on appeal. Now all of the ordinances come to the council, so there is no way on the agenda to know whether or not it was approved by or denied by the MPC. So I just wanted to let you know that this one was denied by the MPC, but it comes to the council anyway, and we need to try to find a way to put on the agenda some notation to let you know that information.
Okay. All right.
So, is an appeal from them, from those?
It's not an appeal. Whether it's approved or denied by the MPC under the UDC, it comes to the council.
So, I need some clarification, Art, I'm not following it. So if it was denied by the MPC.
It still comes to the council.
All right, and what if we approve it?
Then it's approved.
So,
But
Mr.
I think you need to
Chairman,
know.
I mean, you're author of this legislation on there?
Well, it's in my district.
Can you speak to it at this time, or would you rather wait?
No, it's the guy wanted to rezone some, like 5, almost 6 acres of this property. I don't know if you remember behind
I know. Yeah, it's a
Brookshire.
walk.
And, yeah, the residents don't, it's not coincide with what's already there.
Okay.
So,
So
No.
you would have us reject it?
please.
Yes, okay, that's what I want. Thank you.
So, Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry, I concur with the clerk in that the actions and, I mean, they got the resources and apparatus to, and they also had public hearing to get, the feedback from the neighbors and from the community. And I'm sure we've heard of this item, so there need to be some identification on the action that was taken versus just a generic description of what it is. So, Mr. Clark, let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, the discussion, you heard the discussion regarding this particular ordinance that automatically came to us, and action from this body is necessary. We was not all privy to the overall public input in hearings that you had, or from your staff. Is there any way, do the council need to make some type of modification that when these type of UDC matters come back to us, that they can be identified in a way, or more information could be given as far as the actions of your MPC body?
I just had this discussion earlier with Mr. Thompson. We were looking at the situation when the Unified Development Code was enacted. All map amendments come before the council, being that you are the legislative branch of city government, and you have the options of confirming the decision of the MPC, reversing the decision, or making modifications to the decision. So we feel very comfortable with it. Mr. Thompson was not as comfortable as we are, because you have that opportunity when these issues are brought before the city to make those final determinations.
No, I agree that, and I'm saying, and I don't know, tomorrow we may be, Mr. Chairman, we may have 50 people in here like they had at the church that night.
I would hope not. But,
hope not. I mean, if they feel like this body is gonna do something against their wishes, but I was just asking, and I can get with the clerk, is that it would be a note somewhere. A note would be a part of just saying this is a forwarded. This has been forwarded to the body to make a decision, and then MPC recommendation would be yes, no, or whatever.
And Councilman Bradford, the MPC staff and the MPC board is perfectly in agreement with you.
Okay.
This just came up today, and we became aware of it, and we will work with the council and the clerk's office, if it is so inclined, to work with us to come up with a solution to this problem.
So my last question is, so I'm fully aware of the public position on this, and they expressed that.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Was that your staff reasoning for rejecting it, or was there any other information that was shared that made the MPC rejecting this application?
The staff recommendation was based on the fact that all of the property on both sides of Jefferson Page Road, on the north and south, were single-family residential zoning districts. And this was a multifamily zoning application. And we found that jumping from the residential estate zoning classification to the R2 multifamily was quite a leap and was not compatible with the other development in the area. It had nothing to do with the sentiments or the concerns of the big groups that spoke out in opposition.
I see. Thank you, sir.
All right.
Mr. Chair.
Councilman Green.
Mr. Thompson, would it be a problem if, say, for an instance, it has ordinance 165, just for us to have a notation? After 165, could we just put UDC?
Or denied by UDC?
Yes, sir.
We'll look at that, sir.
Yes, sir. And that would help us.
All right. And I know that, well, I didn't know if Mr. Setter, I know Mr. Setter was the spokesperson, the consultant for the gentleman who was applying, so I don't know if you had some additional information that you wanted to, or that you could off on that.
John Settle. I did represent David Sample and Roanoke, or whatever the name is, at the MPC. We were soundly thrashed. He did not bother to appear, and I took all the bullets. He is not appealing to you, and he was surprised it was on the agenda, but I explained to him that it had to come to you. So we're expecting the council to uphold the MPC. And I'm not sure how your resolution reads, but we do not expect you to overturn the MPC tomorrow. He's making other plans for a development.
Right.
All right.
Thank you. Ms. Jones, ordinance on second reading, final passage, please.
Ordinance 123, authorizing the mayor to execute a cooperative endeavor lease agreement of city-owned property located at 1506 Abbey Street, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71103 in Caddo Parish, to the Serenity Club of Shreveport, Inc., for the purpose of lessee to use it for programs and to maintain the building and grounds. Said property is not needed for public purposes. Ordinance 135, an ordinance amending the City of Shreveport, Louisiana 2019 general fund budget. Ordinance 136, an ordinance amending the 2019 budget for the MPC Special Revenue Fund. Ordinance 137 is amending the 2019 general fund budget. Ordinance 138 is amending Chapter 38, Housing and Property Standards of the City of Shreveport, Louisiana Code of Ordinances. Ordinance 139, an ordinance to establish a new Chapter 38.5, Procedures for Abatement for the City of Shreveport, Louisiana Code of Ordinances.
All right, there any discussion on that?
Mr. I will mention, I would say on 123, I think we got a very detailed description of how this property is utilized. It has been engaged in a cooperative endeavor agreement for the last 12 years, and now we're just asking that the same agreement will be transferred to the Serenity Club, who has been utilizing it even during that time. The church, the Magnolia Church that was using it several years ago, outsourced the use of it to them, but they have maintained the building. We've went over and looked at the building, the equipment, everything is just top notch. Mr. Knies was here at the last work session and expressed his appreciation to how that's being utilized. So I just want to say that I would certainly want and expect for us to continue to make these type of accommodations to buildings and to entities that can partner with us to lessen the financial obligation that we have on some of our buildings, as well as some of the programs that we support throughout the city. So I just want to just say that again. Thank you.
All right, Councilman Upton.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to commend city staff for their work on ordinances 138 and 139. This will implement the property standards court that has been the subject of some discussion over the past several months, and I do think it will improve the city's ability to address property standards violations. Thank you.
All right. This is down to the okay. On one thing, I can ask about that later. Okay. On the ordinances to be adopted no later than December 15th, the resolution for the budget.
Under section 10 is tabled legislation. These are the 20 ordinances for the adoption of the 2020 budget.
Okay. Mr. Thompson, any table legislation to be removed?
Not that we know of, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. No property standards appeals considered today, no ABO. We have the following MPC appeals tomorrow.
Yes, we have one MPC appeal, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. And no other appeals. We did have a Mr., was it Lawrence Anderson? Will he be here tomorrow? That's the name.
Proposal Commission, I'll find out.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think he's here today, but we'll make sure that he's here tomorrow.
Okay. Are there any reports from officers, boards, or committee? Is that new? That's all we have up there.
This place is Mr. Henderson taken.
Zazelle Dudley on the Sports Commission. And Mr. Thompson, is there a clerk's report?
We do have one appointment letter from the mayor to be confirmed later is the Shreveport Bossier Sports Commission, and the person appointed is Mr. Lawrence Anderson.
Okay. He should be here tomorrow.
And we do have an executive session.
All right. Directly after today?
Yes.
Sure. All right. Ms. Creel?
Yes, sir.
Okay. No, I was just reading through something.
Okay.
Like there's a lot of them on here. Okay, do we have a motion to go into the executive?
Before we go into motion, I understand we're having employees recognition day on, what day is that?
October the 31st is employee.
October the 31st, and
Yes,
from my
sir.
understanding, we are supposed to have, from the council, supposed to give some door prizes, and I just want to know how we're supposed to go about doing it. Do we just put the money in the pot, or what kind of direction do we supposed to have for that?
Yeah, the mayor's task force and HR has asked each department to offer door prizes to be offered at Employee Appreciation Day on October the 31st. So it's up to the council, you know, on
Okay. Councilman.
what you all are willing to offer.
Miss Terry, actually Miss Terry, you can give yours to Miss Terry.
No, I was gonna ask that Councilwoman Fuller would take care of us up here, and we give it to her, and she give it to Ms. Terry. She'll set the standards on what we need to pay and what we need to do.
What do you plan on giving?
It all depends on what she asks us to do.
That's cute. I don't understand it. I'm gonna act like I don't understand. That sounds like you're making extra work for me.
So you're suggesting financial donations, is that what you're suggesting?
Mr. Chairman, we'll do something on that.
So the council,
Let you know.
would coordinate us?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Can't get that kid no extra work.
I heard that.
I need a motion to go into executive session.
Mr. Chairman, I think the statutes require us to read off what we're going into executive session for. So if the motion would include to go into executive session to consider the following matters: Erica W. Early versus Veronica Camp, docket number 603708. All of these are in the First Judicial District Court of Caddo Parish, Louisiana. The second is BW Partners LLC, DBA Briarwood Apartments versus City of Shreveport, docket number 613681-A. Sherwood Lakes Apartments LLC versus the City of Shreveport, docket number 616821-C. The Haven Property Owners Association, Inc. versus City of Shreveport, docket number 610530-C. And T. Scott Pernici, Michael Jones, and Mark DeFatta, individually and on behalf of a class of similarly situated persons versus the City of Shreveport, docket number 599698-C.
All right, we had a motion by Councilman Green.
Second.
Second by Councilman Nicholson. If there's nothing else, then this meeting will go into, this meeting is adjourned.
Do we vote?
We need a vote.
I'm sorry. What's up?
The meeting is not adjourned. This is a part of the meeting, and we'll come back in here.
Well, this meeting.
Have you not met? What are you even talking about? Yeah, actually.
Oh, okay.
Please.
I know what people We gotta talk. We got a problem.